Hey YouTube, how is it going? Well, it's been about a week since I've done a Tesaro Enterprises / Humble update video, and I've had several requests for that, so I'm going to do that today because I see some very interesting things in their chart that I want to show you. Then I'm going to go into some of the market averages and try to forecast where we could be going next. And then after that, of course, I have some other decent looking charts, believe it or not, to show you. All right, well, here is the daily chart of TSNPD / HUMBL Incorporated. It's been over a week since I've done a video on this company. This is one of the few that I am still getting requests for. It seems like almost all the requests have dried up because I'm assuming the market is, got everybody down in the dumps because it's getting crushed. But the good thing is a lot of these stocks are approaching the 50-period simple moving average, just like HUMBL Incorporated is. So we should be getting a bounce pretty soon. I'm thinking a lot of stocks are really, especially lower price stocks, are really starting to accelerate to the downside. So I think a bounce is right around the corner. Now the big question is it going to be a big bounce or a little bounce? But if we zoom in to HUMBL's chart, we can see they had that reverse split on 226, a 1-for-4 reverse split. Now, a lot of these lower price stocks, once they do a reverse split, they can get a pop for a day or two, and that's exactly what happened with HUMBL. And it had that sell-off, which is also typical after a reverse split. You usually get that sell-off a couple days after the pop. Now, it would be curious. I'm curious to know if this would have happened if the market wasn't selling off. Of course, there's no way to tell that. I wonder, could TSNPD have continued to trend higher and possibly make a new high if the overall market wasn't dragging it down? Unfortunately, we'll never know. But I think this sell-off could be attributed just to the weakness in the overall market, because if we scroll in a little bit and we look at the volume has been drying up. The average daily volume is continuing to trend lower, so it tells me there isn't a huge amount of selling going in the stock. I know when a stock goes down, it doesn't make you feel any better if it's going down on a less volume. It still kind of stings a little bit when you see your account value going down. But if you look at how the volume is trending, it could kind of forecast where the next move could be. TSNPD is sitting right on support and is approaching that 50-period simple moving average like I talked about. Let's go intraday real quick. I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart and back it out just a little bit. And we can see it is stair-stepping down. I'm just amazed how TSNPD makes this pattern all the time. I mean, you see like a fast move in the first few minutes and then a consolidation for the rest of the day. Then boom, fast move, consolidation. Boom, fast move, pretty much consolidation, whether it's going down or whether it's going up. So, I mean, if you can get on the right side of that fast move in the morning, you can make some pretty easy money on both sides of this. But TSNP, if we back the chart out a little bit, we can see it's right at very crucial support at the moment. Now, unfortunately, the market is weighing heavy on all the stocks out there. So TSNPD needs to hold this area. I think if we don't hold this area, we could be heading back down to under $2 pretty quickly. But if we do get a bounce up in the market, hopefully it will keep TSNPD above this support area and back into the 3.75 to $4 plus range, because that's what TSNP is going to need to do if they're going to try to, grind out another like rounding bottom and start to head towards a new high. But TSNPD is under a lot of selling pressure. If you zoom in just a little bit closer, you can see that it's starting to find some pretty decent support just in the last couple of days. So a break above this 50-period simple moving average on the 15-minute chart is going to be crucial. Hopefully we get a bounce up in the overall market and it can bring up TSNPD, because it is probably going to be a decent move down if we break these levels, especially if we break this 50-period simple moving average on the daily chart. Now, this isn't a reason to just close out your position if you want to hold this stock for the long term. These deep pullbacks are common, and we did have that big reverse split. So some of the volume has dried up. You can see right now it's at 8.8 million shares, which of course is much less than what was the average daily volume when it was before it did that 4-to-1 reverse split. So I think this 4-to-1 reverse split is going to help it in the long run. It helped dry up some of the supply out there. And I think TSNP could be carving out a bottom. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully the market does get a bounce next week and it can take everything up. All right, now let's get into those market averages. All right, well, let's get into the market averages, and I know this is everybody's absolute favorite part of the video, especially when the market is crashing. I know you guys want to be reminded on how much money we are all losing. You're probably thinking, you have any pictures of my wife cheating on me? Why don't you show me that while you're at it? But trust me, things are going to get better. And if we look at this chart right now, we can see the volume is starting to really expand to the upside. So I think we are getting pretty close to a climax bottom on the QQQs. So a bounce should be imminent. We are bouncing off the lows as I'm recording this video. I do these videos intraday, and it seems like it is bouncing when I'm doing my video. And as soon as I upload it, the market rolls over and makes a liar out of me. But anyway, I do think a bounce is right around the corner. And I actually just took a moving average convergence divergence trade just a few minutes ago. Let me go in and show you how that is doing. Go to the 5-minute chart. Let me bring the MACD on it. Let me adjust the chart a little bit so it's easier for us to see it. But I love making these trades. I love making them when the market is crashing because that is when they work the best. I don't do them all the time, but I try to do them. I try to watch for these when the market is pulling back. But you have the lower low on the Qs, and then you have the higher low on the MACD. I usually grab it as soon as it breaks above this 8-period exponential moving average and try to ride it out. If we get a move up to 305, 306, this is probably where I will look to get out right around the 305.50 area. But it is a pretty easy trade to make because you buy it as soon as it jumps above this 8-period exponential moving average. You have all of this to potentially ride to the upside, and your stop out is just below the previous low. So if this thing drops below probably 297.50, I'm going to take my small loss and just look for the next trade. I love showing these trades on my channel because they are low risk, high reward trades. I try not to show you guys the the super high risk stuff because I think once you are starting to learn how to trade, and I think a lot of you guys are probably in the early stages, you need consistent patterns that are easy to identify. And I think this one is one of the easier ones to identify. Let me get the MACD off here, go back to the daily chart. Now, if we look at the QQQs, if some of you guys are trapped in some of your longs and you're looking to get out, I think our next bounce could be up around the 311 area. So if we do get a bounce up there and you do have some positions that you're probably a little nervous about, that's probably when you want to unload them. And if the market continues higher and starts breaking into another uptrend, you can always buy them back. But if we do get a bounce up into this resistance area, that is probably going to be your time to unload them if you want to. Because if we do get up into this resistance area, chances are we are probably going to roll over again. We'll have to see how it reacts once it gets up there, if it gets up there, because who knows, probably by the time I upload this video, the QQQs are probably going to drop 100 points. But all right, well, let's take a look at the other ones. Take a look at the spider, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is holding that bottom from today as well and is trying to get back up towards that 50-period simple moving average. The S&P 500 is probably the second weakest of the averages because the Dow is still holding up very well. But I think the S&P 500 could easily get back up to this 50-period simple moving average, and that's where this resistance is right now. So I could definitely see the Qs and the spider getting up to that level at the exact same time, and that would probably be tough for both of them to get through at the same time. But let's take a look at the diamonds real quick. The diamonds is the strongest. It is above the 50-period simple moving average. In my dividend portfolio, I do have some Dow Jones stocks, and they are holding up pretty well. So for whatever reason, a lot of these dividend stocks are not rolling over. They are by far my best performers that are not in the oil sector. But the Dow Jones is definitely the strongest of the three. And if it can get back above that 8-period exponential moving average, maybe we can get into another uptrend. But we'll just have to wait and see. I think these averages are definitely not going to get there before the end of the day today. So we are going to have all weekend to think about it. All right, well, I'm going to talk about some different kind of stocks in this video. First, normally I like to talk about stocks that are going with the trend because it's usually easier to make money on those. But from time to time, I like to play these dead cat bounce type stocks. I have a screen for these type of patterns when they are crashing down and starting to accelerate to the downside, just like Senseonics Holding is doing right now. When the trend starts to go straight down, you know you're going to be getting close towards a bounce real soon. I have not bought Senseonics Holding, but this is the type of pattern that I am noticing a lot in some of these lower price stocks. So I think a bounce has to be pretty close. Another one that is crashing right now that looks like it's due for a bounce is a T2 Biosystems, ticker symbol TTOO. When you see a pattern like this and you look at it in hindsight, you always get that decent bounce back up. So I think TTOO is ripe for a bounce. It crashed right through that 200-period simple moving average. But if it gets right back above it the next day, I think this thing is going to have a pretty decent bounce ahead of it. And I could see it easily bouncing back up to this white line, the 8-period exponential moving average, or even this 50-period simple moving average. A bounce up to over $2 would be a pretty good move from right here, and it wouldn't even be pulling back to half of this downtrend. So I think a bounce that far up is pretty easy to get to. Now, one that I did take today, actually just a few minutes ago, I believe I heard it execute, is Zaykin, because it came all the way down to this 50-period simple moving average. I am in at $4.44, so I am down just a butt hair at the moment. They are in the steel sectors. They're in the commodity sector, so I think there's a pretty good chance this one is going to bounce because I think commodities are going to start to get strong. Now, Zaykin had a massive, massive move up, so a pullback is absolutely normal. And since the market is crashing at the moment, it has turned this pullback into a crash. But I think Zaykin is certainly due for a bounce. So I am in at 444. We will see if that works. Only time will tell. Another one that I bought today was CDXC. I bought this in the beginning of the day. And if the market didn't have so much pressure on it, I think this thing would have easily gotten all the way up to the 8-period exponential moving average right now because it is holding above that 21-period exponential moving average. So I think a bounce up to right around $11 should happen pretty easily unless, of course, the market just friggin' rolls over hard and it just drags everything down. But if we get a bounce in the overall market, which we could, I think CDXC is going to be a nice gain for me. Another one that I wanted to show you guys was, they pointed this out in the Patreon group, was GME. GameStop looks like it's making a nice hook up. Let's go intraday. Doesn't look like it's taken off quite just yet, but I talk about this pattern all the time. You know, you have the big move up, and then it starts to go sideways, make that nice rounding bottom, and once it jumps above that 8-period exponential moving average on the 15-minute chart, that's usually when I like to enter these trends. I did not buy any GameStop, and I'm not sure if the guys in the Patreon did or not. I think maybe one of them might have. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if GameStop just blasts above $190 real soon because it looks like it is just coiling up for that next move up. All right, let's look at some of the other stocks that I normally like to point out that are looking pretty good. I don't know if I've talked about TALO, but they are also in the oil and gas sector. Oil and gas is just it's probably has to be the strongest sector in the market right now. And once people start noticing the oil and gas a little bit more, I think it's going to get even stronger. One that I talked about seems like every day for the last couple of weeks. I've mentioned this at least several times. It's just having another monster day. WTI, W&T Offshore Drilling. This is, of course, another oil and gas stock. It's up another 19% today. So if any of you guys got in on this breakout, you're doing very well. Congratulations. Right now, it's getting towards that parabolic phase. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this thing starts pulling back in the short term. But you can see it is going up on heavy volume. So people are starting to pile in to some of these oil and gas stocks. Another one I want to show you is ET. ET Phone Home. ET has broken out of this triangle consolidation. This is the one I like to show on the channel the most just because it's so easy to spot, and it's usually so easy to trade. I like to show you guys easy patterns that are easy to make money on. You know, some of the stuff that is, you know, a lot of the momentum plays out there, like GameStop, for instance. I mean, those are a lot harder to play. Those can go up and down a lot any given day. But these simplistic patterns, they're easy to see on a chart and they're easy to trade. You know, once you get that decent breakout and a hold of the 8-period exponential moving average, you know that there is a strong possibility that the stock is going to continue up. ET is holding its own despite the market pulling back, but it is in that oil and gas sector. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this thing breaks out of this little triangle consolidation bullish flag type pattern and starts getting into the upper 8s in the near future. Another one that I want to talk about is ENBL. I believe I talked about this one yesterday. It is continuing to hold above that 8-period exponential moving average, so it's sitting in the buy zone again. I think this one is going to be up over 7.25 before too long. That is if it doesn't fail this moving average. It's sitting on it right now, but I think ENBL is another strong stock in the oil and gas sector. That's all that's coming up on my bullish scans right now is pretty much energy stocks. So that's what I want to show you guys. I want to show you the ones that are the strongest possibility of going up. Another one is BORR, Bore Drilling, and Bore Drilling has been kind of consolidating. It broke down through those moving averages, but it jumped right back above it, and it looks like it's probably going to be heading sideways for a little bit longer. But I think it's going to carve out a nice rounding bottom and make another move to the upside before too long. And the last one I want to show you is RIG. RIG is another oil and gas drilling company. They have been moving up steadily. Now it is finally broken above this resistance area and is pulling right back to the 8-period exponential moving average right now. So right now it is sitting on a nice support level and it's right in that buy zone where I like to enter these stocks. So Transocean, I think, is looking super good right now. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.